Hi, welcome to this demonstration of the Accelerated Decision Support system from AQOIA. My name's Dan Adler, and I'm joined here today by Graham Galloway, my colleague, and we're going to have a quick demonstration about some of the key functionality and capabilities of ADS, and talk through about how those could be applied in organizations, both at a local level and moving up to a global perspective.
Thanks, Dan. Today I'm going to show you some of the reports and pre-packaged content we have within the Accelerated Decision Support solution. I will show you a number of charts and graphs, but want to stress before we start that ultimately the ADS product is about delivering business benefits. By bringing it all together from the different silos, curating it in the way we do, it gives you the opportunity to solve many more business problems than you can do with your existing information systems. It enables corrective actions to be taken to maximize profits throughout your organization. The idea of the product is that it provides a consistent platform and data in a consistent format to enable collaboration within your organization. This is within your markets and throughout different levels of your company, through local levels right up to global levels. That is because ADS is designed in such a way that it allows you to remain locally relevant, doing things in the manner which is required at a local level, but it's done within a framework which allows you to be globally consistent. It allows you to roll your data up across your group to help in comparisons of different markets, to roll up data to group level to give you global views of your brands, global views of your customers, and also allows you to roll out best practice throughout your organization. We will be looking at the powerful reporting made possible by capturing and curating enriched cost-to-serve analytics for the various management groups that drive performance across the enterprise. We will be showing how these different management roles can visualize and explore the issues and opportunities that need actions to deliver real financial benefits. I will only be showing a few reports, obviously, for a limited number of management groups or roles, but the same principle applies across the whole business. Firstly, I'm going to show you some dashboards, then some standard reports, and then some self-service analysis. The idea of the standard reports is to deliver benefits straight out of the box. When you install an ADS system, these reports come with the tool and are easily configurable, allowing you to immediately get insight into where costs are being driven from and what things are affecting your profit as an organization.
So, without any further ado, Graham, we can see here the group dashboard. Do you want to just talk us through it, and then let's move through the tool a little bit?
Yeah, sure, Dan. Yeah, thanks very much. What I'm going to do is we've got three different types of reporting here. We have some dashboards, we have some standard reports which we use with the tool, and we also have some freeform analysis capabilities as well to show the power of slicing and dicing the data. So I'll start off with this dashboard. Now this dashboard is one we've put together. It's designed to be at group level. It's you would have different dashboards probably for different people within the organization. This one is looking at things at a total group level and showing the ability to drill down to different dimensions, whether that be product categories or different countries or different brands. Also here you can see the global customers, the trends by month, and the different channels.
And this is fully configurable?
This is fully configurable. This one is designed, as I said, in this way. Each of these panels and what lies beneath them can be configured to whatever you wish to have. So I'll start off by showing you the product category one. So click on this and it brings up the different product categories that the company sells. In this chart, the left-hand y-axis is the net profit, the x-axis is the percentage profitability, and the bubble size relates to the gross sales value of that particular category. So as you can see, there's a number of categories that this company sells. We have this one down here, which is laundry, another one here, which is oral care, and this largest one, which is the skin category. As you can see, it makes a lot of profit for the company and has a large GSV. So I'll click on that, and as you can see, once you click on the category, you can drill down into the brands that are below the category.
So this is feeding through. What kind of volume of data are we handling here? I mean,
this is about 6 billion records, Dan, so it's quite significant.
So 6 billion records all being calculated and then thrown out into this kind of reports, all done dynamically.
Correct. Okay. On this occasion, it seems to have not selected a category, so I'm going to redo it again. So this time I'll choose the hair care category. It brought up all the brands there. So this time it has worked. So we have the different brands here. As you can see, we have Lux, which is the biggest seller and the highest profit, down through the smaller ones, Lifebuoy, Kami, down to the tail, if you like, down to these ones here, which are quite low sellers within this category. You can also see, you can have look at the cross tabs. So this cross tab is going to show these brands and in their information. So as you can see here, you can have the categories, you have the brands underneath it, you have the GSV and the cost waterfall, and you can filter by countries.
So this table can be adapted, configured.
Absolutely.
You've got the full cost to serve waterfall that you can bring into this table.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. This is just what we've decided to put in this table.
And how long does it take to put something like this together?
Once you've got the basic template, if you like, for it, you can change things reasonably quickly. There's a bit of upfront work initially to get this, but once you have it, you can then configure it to be whatever you want it to be.
Okay.
So this is the category profitability tab. I'll just show one more, which will be the global one. So if I click on this, here we have the profit waterfall for France. I haven't reset it, so it should have been global. But if I click on the map, it will go to a global waterfall. So what we mean by the waterfall is what you see on the right-hand side here. You have the gross sales value is the main big pillar, and then you have the costs at a high level, which we break down to increasingly lower levels, on request. But this is just the high level costing and showing what the net profit is.
So you could drill down into those costs.
Correct. Well, we won't actually this on this chart. This is not configured to drill down, but you could certainly do that. There's no problem doing that. But just I'll show you how you can find the information anyway. On this one, so if you click on France, you can see the profit waterfall for France, and once again, this is totaling up 6 billion records on the click of the button. So it's very, very quick.
And this is running just on a sort of on a Wi-Fi network.
Yeah.
In terms of infrastructure, does this have to run on one particular, like SAP or Oracle, or what are your thoughts?
This one at the moment we have on SAP HANA because it's the best tool for this job. The data is held in memory, so it's all very quick to access. And when you're dealing with huge volumes of data, like this tool has, the solution has, it's important to have the databases and technology there for allow you to be able to do these things very quickly. And as you can see, it is incredibly quick.
Yeah.
So you can also click on the details. You can get the country cost breakdown. So here we have, as you mentioned earlier on, the different costs. So this is France, and you can see that we have lots of different levels of the profit waterfall. We have the grouping names on the far left. So we have the gross sales value and then trade terms, and then look at the trade terms. You can see you could split it down to business building terms and efficient operation terms. And then if you look at those terms, you can see they go down to logistic conditions, payment conditions, and then to an even lower level of data.
And again, so how would that be configured for another company? So this is talking about FMCG. What happens if it was another company like telecoms, for example?
Yeah, this is designed to be like a quick start. This is, if you work in FMCG, you would use this one or one very similar to it. So rather than starting with a blank sheet of paper, you have a pre-configured model. Obviously, the closer you are to consumer goods, the more this one would apply. However, we also have other models which people can use for retail and telcos, etc. But it's not designed to be prescriptive. It's designed to be like a bit like business content. You know, you can take it as it is, or you can configure it to how you want it. But you're not starting with a blank sheet of paper. So it's all about accelerating. Yeah, it's all about accelerating the process. So as you can see, we have here those costs broken down. This is useful on its own, but quite often you'd want to go to other reports. So you can configure the dashboard to go into other reports. And if I click on this button here, it will open up some standard reports that we have. And once again, that's how quick it is. That's broken down billions of records by customer and by cost type. And this chart is designed to be a quick guide, if you like, to where you should be looking to save your money, and where money has been lost. The whole concept is that if things are green, they're average or below average for the costs, which is calculated dynamically. If they're pink, then they're above average. If they're red, they're one standard deviation above average. And if they're black, they're two standard deviations above average. It's just a quick way to be able to see where you should be focusing your efforts, because this tool will highlight a lot of opportunities for you, and this helps you identify exactly where they are. This is only one way of doing it. And here we have the customers down the left-hand side. This could be brands, it could be categories. You can do it any way you want. When you click on something, so if I was to click on this one here, which is the co-op and ordering and cash collection, because it's black, click on there, and it will drill down to the next level of detail. So if I page down, you can see now we have the co-op selected, and we have all the different product categories that the co-op sells. And for the cost type which we clicked on, which was the cash collections, ordering and cash collections, you can see we have the next level of detail for those costs.
So, and you could continue going down.
We could
through the granularity of the work.
Correct. Because we have all the data at the lowest level of granularity, transaction level. You can build it up any way you want, and you can analyze it any way you want.
So that's different from existing systems.
Absolutely, because most systems now, when they go to costs down to that level, they're averaged out. They're built from the top down, and you don't have the data at the transactional level. And quite often, in some systems, you're limited on how many dimensions you can have of the data. This is unlimited amount of dimensions.
Sorry, define a dimension for me.
A dimension would be things like customers or product category or channel or brand. Yep. You can have as many as you want, and you can analyze by as many as you want. There's no limitations. Some other ones have limitations of, for example, 5 dimensions. Yeah.
Yeah.
On this one, you're unlimited. So if I click on there, you can, as you said, you can configure it any way you want this way, but you can keep on drilling down. So there's another example. I've clicked on another one that was black there, and it will go down to the next level of detail. And there you go. It's mouthwash and other oral, and it's Listerine then it's manual ordering is where the extra cost is coming. Correct. At which point you could go away and you can investigate this further using either some of our other standard reports, or using the freeform analysis, or even just picking up the phone to someone to find out why that's happening. Yeah. But it's rapidly identified where you're leaking money and why, okay. in detail. Yeah.
Yeah. And the numbers What allows people to trust these numbers?
Well, they tie back to the numbers that are held within your ERP systems, but they're not constrained by it, because they get validated and they always tie back, and they're always agreed with throughout the organisation of what they're actually saying. It encourages collaboration across the organisation to make sure that people are looking at the numbers in the same way and they're looking at the same numbers. The idea of the waterfall that we showed earlier on is it has all the different aspects of the business, and how profitable or unprofitable those are, but they're done in such a way that you can look at them together and see how decisions made in commercial can affect the supply chain, how it can affect the underlying profitability, and you can do it at a very detailed level.
But does that then mean that one model in one country is the same as another model in another country?
Well, funnily enough, yes and no. You can do it at the local level. It's different, but at the group level, it's consistent. It's what we call remaining locally relevant, but whilst being globally consistent. So the model is built in a clever way that allows the local operating company to configure the model and have the allocation of the costs according to their own rules that are specific to the country, and also to have their waterfall at the lower level in alignment with the way their business operates and then needs to operate. But it's done within a structured way so that the costs then can feed up into the global structure, so that you can then look at the data aggregated together to total brand or total category or total country, but you can also compare across, so that it helps you to see how you're performing by whichever dimension, back to the dimension again, by whichever dimension you want to look at across different countries, which is very useful for comparing performance, but is also very useful for looking at best practice and for rolling out best practice and benchmarking.
So you mentioned granularity there. How granular can you show me on here?
We can go right down to the lowest level of detail. I'll show you that. We have the data to, you could go down to the order line, specific individual order line for an individual SKU, for an individual ship to party, if you like, drop point. So it's all very, very, very granular, and it will be a fully loaded profit and loss account at that level. I'll actually wouldn't go onto that just now. I'll show you.
Sorry, I didn't mean to just jump that.
I will show you. I will show you that one, Dan, in a minute, because I think we can show a good story on that one, which is using the freeform analysis, and it will, in part of that story, it will show you the profit and loss account right down to the absolute lowest level with accurate granular information. Okay, and as I said earlier on, we have different types of reports. The traffic light report I showed earlier on was an example of one of our standard reports. I'm going to show a few more. This is a bit of a teaser for Dan, this one. This is one of the profit and loss accounts I was talking about. And this report shows how costs are broken down within our tool. They go down through various different levels of cost detail, and this fully loaded profit and loss account is replicated throughout the system. At the moment, it's at full company level. It can be selectively drilled down and filtered upon down to, as I said earlier, onto a ship to party, to an order, and to an individual SKU, or a combination of all three. So down to very low levels of detail as far as the costs are concerned. The system also has other information at the transactional level, and I'll show a little bit of that later on. The whole point, as I said earlier on, is what can you do with this level of detail? Well, just going to show you now some examples of out-of-the-box solutions that you can get with this. As I said, we have many different standard reports within the tool. This is just one. It's quite a decent report. It shows you the different customers, how much it costs to serve in the traditional meaning of that cost to serve. So this is the operational side of things, the warehousing and transportation, ordering, cash collection, other activities. And you can see quite quickly from the chart that this is the biggest customer, buying group 6, sorry, and its cost to serve operationally is just under 6%, with the warehousing and transportation taking up quite a lot of the costs. You can see this next one, buying group 7, costs less to serve than buying group 6, and buying group 8 is quite similar as buying group 6. But the next chart shows how collaboration and how mixing data in a common format from different silos can be very effective. So this is bringing into the mix the trade terms that the companies have been offered. And you get a different picture. Pretty quickly you can see that buying group 8, which was round about the same as buying group 6 for cost to serve, has really significant trade terms being offered. Bear in mind that these trade terms are nothing to do with business building. These are purely trade terms which are being offered for efficient ordering and efficient deliveries, etc. So it's all about improving the supply chain, these discounts. And the discounts being offered to buying group 8 are very significant. And as you can see from the chart, they're nothing special as far as being efficient in their ordering. That would be something you would definitely want to investigate further. As you can see from the bottom tab here, we have lots of reports. You can look at it by brand, you can look at it by month, you can look at it by categories, whichever, and you can also filter it by different categories and different brands up here in the top. You can investigate further to find out where these inefficiencies are coming. So for example, this is the average number of cases per order and the number of orders for customers. So you can see which ones are good customers, which ones are bad customers. You can investigate percentages of cases on full pallets across your different customers. So here you can see, for example, buying group 9 has nearly 100% cases on full pallets, whereas Aldi has less than 10. And you can even get the breakdown of whether that, how those were picked. So you can see that Aldi was, once again, very low on pallets ordered, and there's the number of layers, and there's the number of individual cases, right up to buying group 9, where 99% is unpicked. So you can go down to the increasing levels of detail to find out why certain customers are better than others. Now, these standard reports can be regarded a bit like business content. They have a wealth of knowledge captured within them and can really help you accelerate your cost to serve journey. And the way we organise them is within what we call management groups. Typically, information in companies is very silo focused or functional area focused, whereas management groups really need information across different functional areas to do their jobs properly, which is quite often why they finish up using things like Excel. Well, in our tool here, we take data from different parts of the functional areas and combine them in reports for management groups to do their day-to-day jobs, such as commercial, controlling, distribution, finance, etc., but also provide information when people are undertaking initiatives. Typically, when people undertake these initiatives, this is a long, laborious task getting all the information they require. Using this tool, it's pretty much at your fingertips, as the data is in a consistent format across the organisation. You just pull whichever information you require for your initiative, and you can get the reports based on that. So that is just a quick insight into our standard reports. As I said, we have about 70 or 80 which are designed to give you immediate benefits out of the box. I obviously don't have time to show you all of them, but hopefully that's given you a flavour of what we can provide. Okay, Dan. Here's an example of our freeform reports. And this is a scenario that I've put together, but once again, it is running on a live database. It's just running in a pre-configured format to make it easier to show the power of the tool. This is a scenario in which we have a brand manager. She's new within the company, and she's been put in charge of one of the brands. In fact, it's the second biggest brand by volume, and probably just about the most profitable brand within the company. So it's very much one of the star brands, and you know, you may ask the question, if it's performing so well, is there any money to be taken off the table? And I'd like to show in this scenario that even with the most profitable brands, you can still be making money. So we'll now carry on and look at this brand, the Aquafresh brand. We'll look at it across different countries. As you can see here, it's very profitable everywhere. We have the 4 countries in this model. We have China, United States of America, France, and UK. And the UK is the biggest country for this brand. So we'll investigate the brand further. There's various ways you can look at the data when you get to this. As I said earlier on, it's multi-dimensional, the ability to look at stuff. You could look at it by different buying groups worldwide, and as you can see here on the screen, we have the different buying groups for Aquafresh, and there is actually a tail along the end, which we could investigate now. We could see why some customers it's not performing particularly well. On this analysis, so we'll just kind of focus on the product route rather than the customer route for the moment. We'll revisit customers later on.
Okay.
So if we look at the SKUs for this brand, we can see pretty quickly that there are a number of very big SKUs that are very profitable, a number of smaller ones that are profitable, and one fairly sizable SKU down here at the bottom, which is actually losing quite a lot of money. It's losing over 3 million in the time period for this chart. So I think we should be investigating that further.
And in terms of the reporting that you're showing here, I know you said that you'd set this up already, but does this form part of ADS, or is this a separate system that ADS then exports data into?
No, absolutely not. This is part of the ADS system. This is just a tool that sits on top of it. Right. So any tool can be sitting on top of it, as long as it can read from SAP HANA. Mm-hmm. So it could be Tableau, it could be this one, which is SAP Predictive Analysis. It could be Lumira or any tool, basically, sitting on top of it.
And it can be configured. The reports can be configured, or you can just freely query the data. Correct. Right. Okay.
Correct. This is just one that I've done for demonstration purposes, really. So if we investigate that SKU a little bit further, we can see that it's not very successful anywhere. I mean, it doesn't do too badly in China, but the rest of the world, it doesn't do very well. And as I said, the UK is the biggest market, and it's a major area of focus for Brenda at the moment. So we'll investigate the UK now. And if we look at this SKU and compare it with the total brand in the UK, we can see fairly quickly that the other costs form nearly 3/4 of the cost breakdown at the highest level for that SKU, whereas for the brand as a whole, it's less than 1/4. So clearly there's something in the cost there that is making it less profitable. So we should really investigate that in more detail. So we'll drill down on the other costs, down to a lower level of granularity, and try and work out what's happening here. So if we look at these other costs, for the brand as a whole, advertising consumer still plays a big part as the brand as a whole, is probably slightly over half. But as you can see, for the unprofitable SKU, it's way over 3/4. So there's something happening there. There's been a lot of advertising, a lot of heavy promotion on this SKU.
And there might be a valid business reason for that.
Absolutely,
But it means...
absolutely correct. This tool will highlight issues to you, which you need to act upon. That's the good thing about it. If you're losing money, it will stay on the reports until you act upon it or don't.
Yep.
Because as you say, there might be a valid business reason, there may not. So as you can see here, if we look at the trends over the year for the consumer advertising costs, we can see that it's been quite high throughout the year, and the GSV closely correlates to it, which is to be expected. But it's not really put the GSV up by very much. There might be a slight increase towards the end of the year, and if you expand the report, you can see it probably a bit clearer. You can see it's slightly gone up as the advertising costs have gone up. However, what is also apparent from the bottom chart is that even though the GSV has slightly improved, the net profitability has been poor throughout the whole period. Yeah. And this is the line for the net profit along the bottom here, and it makes a loss every month. So if we delve deeper now and go back to customers that I mentioned earlier on, we can look at this unprofitable SKU by customers. As I said earlier, it just shows you how you can go different routes through the data, whatever makes sense, because it's an investigative tool. You can go up, forward, back, sideways, whatever's required to find out the information.
And here we're showing this in a graphical format, but you could do it in others.
Absolutely. You've got choice. You can have it in, it's just whatever is better to show. You could do tables, you could do different types of charts. It's whatever makes it easier to find the issues. So if you look at this one though, and I think this is quite useful, it shows that actually the SKU doesn't do very well anywhere. There's one or two customers that it does okay, but the vast majority of customers it doesn't do well. And there's one customer in particular it does really poorly, which is this one down here. And these are just random names, but in here we have Lidl. Yeah, so Lidl is doing very, very poorly. And it would suggest, because it's not doing well anywhere, that there's probably an underlying issue with this SKU on a strategic level, if you like. It may be that it's underpriced, or it's being too heavily promoted for its potential size, or maybe it's just high manufacturing costs or warehousing and transportation costs. And the good thing is that with this tool, with the data down to the granular level, you can actually investigate all of those options to see if that's the case.
And then collaborate with as appropriate.
Correct. Absolutely. Absolutely. What I will say though on this one is there is definitely a secondary issue here with Lidl. It's got particularly bad performance, and there might be a tactical opportunity there to try and see why it's doing particularly poorly there. So that's the difference between a more strategic issue with the SKU and a tactical issue with a particular customer. So we'll investigate Lidl a little bit further just to go down that route. So as you can see now, when the screen comes up,
and again, that's 6 billion.
That's
records.
6 billion records. Yeah. So as you can see, you can go down to the level of sold to. So for this SKU, for Lidl sold to parties, it's pretty unprofitable for all of them. To be honest, I think there's one might make a profit. And then if you look at the orders themselves, I'll expand this because it's easier to see when it's expanded. There is actually definitely two different types of orders here. There's a set of orders which go up a slope to the right. So the more it's sold, the more profit is made, but the vast majority are loss-making. So there might be an issue with ordering patterns. There may be, there's various issues that you can investigate on this. But as you can see, and it comes back eventually to your question, Dan, from earlier on, you can see that that we actually have the data down to the lowest level of granularity. I can choose one of these orders and get a fully costed profit and loss account for one ship to party, for one order, for one SKU for Lidl.
So on a particular day,
yeah,
Lidl placed an order,
yeah,
and that single order on that single day, every single item on that order has its own fully blown out P&L.
Correct.
with
Correct.
all of the activities that the entire business has
Correct.
done,
Correct.
having cost assigned to it.
And you could conceivably and possibly justifiably ask, what does that actually do? And what I would say to that one is, having the data that lowest level allows you to do all the things I've just shown you, and it also highlights where the outliers are. If you just have everything averaged, like a lot of enterprise data warehouses, you can't see the differences. Everyone gets averaged out to being the same or nearly the same. It's the outliers, it's the differences that are losing you the money. They're the ones that cost your profitability and ruin it. So it's very important to be able to identify where things are going wrong and where it's costing you money. And it's only by having the granularity and the accuracy still in the system that allows you to do that. Yeah.
Brilliant. Graham, thank you very much for that. So we've gone through the ADS tool. We've talked about how it's gone from that global to local level. Yep. We've been seeing some of the reports. We've seen the volumes of data that it can handle, the speed with which it can do that, and the flexibility that then is enabled. You showed a practical example from someone in marketing looking into their brand, and down to, as we can still see on the screen, the true granularity, and you talk through some of the benefits. If you'd like to learn more, then do get in touch with Graham or myself via the AQOIA website. Many thanks.